Participle phrases work like adjectives. The phrase is describing the noun in the sentence, like this. Like this. And like this. A participle phrase, what it's actually doing is it's acting as an adjective to a noun, a pronoun, or a proper noun. That is what the actual phrase is doing. It's acting as an adjective. Alright? Now, with participles, we talk about participles in participial phrases, right? Now, what do we mean by that? Well, we're talking about verbs, mainly, aren't we? Right? In their past and present tense. So, for example, you could say, we could have this one here. Let's put out a total sentence for you with a participle phrase. Okay? Running slowly, I managed to complete the course. Let's say race. Running slowly, I managed to complete the race. So your participle word there in the participle phrase is the verb running in the present tense. Running slowly is modifying it. It's modifying running. It's telling you how you ran. Running slowly, I managed to complete the race. The participle phrase there is running slowly, and that can be moved around. I, running slowly, managed to complete the race. I managed to complete the race running slowly. Very important that you put in your comma in there, otherwise the sentence is just a big jumble of words. Glancing up from the mirror, Emma listened to what I said. Okay, that is giving you a picture of what's going on. Giving you more detail, isn't it? So you can see there, glancing up from the mirror, acting as the adjective. Adjective describing the subject. She is Emma. Right, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about Emma. We can take the glancing up from the mirror out of the sentence altogether, and it makes perfect sense. It's non-essential, isn't it? But that participial phrase there is just adding more information into the sentence and makes it more interesting. Can we put a past participle into a participial phrase? Well, of course we can. Eaten up with guilt, Tom returned the sandwich to the shop. That could be following on from a previous sentence where we're telling how Tom stole a sandwich from a shop. So, eaten up with guilt, that's in the passive. Eaten up with guilt. Tom returned the sandwich to the shop. Again, Tom, eaten up with guilt. Don't forget the commas. Don't forget the commas. Eaten up with guilt. Tom, eaten up with guilt, returned the sandwich to the shop. You see how we're moving we're moving that around there. There we have it. Lost in the past tense. Lost in thought. Claire gazed at me blankly. Claire, comma, lost in thought, comma, gazed at me blankly. So there we have it. The participle word there is lost. What is lost talking about? Referring to, it's acting as an adjective to Sarah. Take that out. Sarah gazed at me blankly. It's absolutely fine. Lost in thought. Could that stand alone as a sentence? No, it couldn't. Sat down. The man thought about the day ahead. You see? Sat down. Sat down there is your participle phrase. Acting as an adjective, and it is of course because what is it describing? What is sat down referring to? It's referring to the man. Participle words. Participle words in the past and in the present tense get added to a participle phrase. Although we talk about participle words in the past and present tense, we never ever refer to a participle phrase being past or present. It is a participle phrase whether it is past or present. Alright? Okay, so participles. So we can have participle phrases acting as adverbial phrases too, can't we? Before long, we will have to get something done. Before long, that is adverbial. Remember what an adverb does. It's answering the questions how, when, where, and quantity as well. Now, adjectives and adjectival phrases can be used in participle phrases as well. The wrestler, bold and strong, entered the ring. The wrestler, bold and strong, entered the ring. Bold and strong, the wrestler entered the ring. The wrestler entered the ring, bold and strong. That's exactly the same as saying the bold and strong wrestler entered the ring when you think about it. It just gives you a little bit of variety. what we're doing there is we're just adding more detail to the sentence, making the sentence a little bit more interesting. For example, let's put this sentence on the board for you here, right? The happy teacher gave his lesson. Okay? It's perfectly okay. It's a perfectly good sentence. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. The happy teacher gave his lesson, or gave a lesson. Right. Let's change that. The happy teacher, laughing and joking with his students, gave a very good lesson. Right? So let's put the comma in there, and you can see where, I know it keeps on going off and comes back on again. I can't do anything about that, I'm afraid. You can see where the participial phrase is. Laughing and joking with his students. Okay, let's put this prepositional phrase in here. Walking out of the house, Sarah was convinced she had left something behind. Sarah, comma, walking out of the house, comma, was convinced she had left something behind. Walking out of the house is a prepositional phrase. You notice the noun there. It's acting as a participle because what it is describing is Sarah, isn't it? You know, the proper noun, Sarah. She is walking out of the house. So that there is a prepositional phrase acting as a participle phrase in that sentence. The houses and the gardens. Full stop. Right, I think you're beginning to see now why you don't need to memorise every verb in the English language. The houses and the gardens. Well, it's blatantly obvious that is an incomplete sentence. There's something missing there, isn't there? The houses and the gardens. You're left saying, well, what about the houses and the gardens? The houses and the gardens are nice. That's fine. We had the subject here. We know what the subject is. It's the houses and the gardens. Double subject here. The houses and the gardens. Are is a verb. Nice is of course an adjective. Nice here getting used in the predicate. And that now makes sense. right? When a sentence is missing either a verb or a subject, it will leave you with a great big question mark, alright? So, you will always know when a sentence is missing a subject or a verb, because it will not make any sense, alright? So, I hope that has helped you out. Now it's time for the big quiz. 20 questions. Good luck with them. And I'll see you all in the next show, which will be a show all about punctuation. Now there's one to look forward to. You do have to be careful sometimes when you're writing out participle phrases, and you've got to make sure that they're actually making sense, alright? For example, you couldn't say, swinging from tree to tree, Mum enjoyed watching the monkeys. Swinging from tree to tree, Mum enjoyed watching the monkeys. Right, now, unless your mother is swinging from tree to tree, that sentence is ambiguous in its entirety. It is a comical sentence. It makes no sense, in fact, does it? Because in fact your mum isn't swinging from tree to tree, it's the monkeys that are swinging from tree to tree. So how can we make that, how can we put that right? Right, so your mum isn't swinging from tree to tree, so you'd say, the monkeys swinging from tree to tree gave Mum much enjoyment. Right, there's no participle phrase there, that's just a simple sentence. Right? Right? So that's how that would be written, and that does make sense, okay? You could also say, Mum, with much enjoyment, watched the monkeys swinging from tree to tree. Right? With much enjoyment there is acting as an adjective for mum. Right? Now we can take that out of the equation altogether and just say, Mum enjoyed watching the monkeys swinging from tree to tree.